Okay, you are now being recorded, I trust, and don't say anything that violates either United States or Italian law. First of all, when the white smoke went up, I was expecting them to call out the name of Robin Good yesterday, Habemus Curator, um, but that didn't happen. But in any event, it's an honor to be talking to you. You know, there are a lot of people who are have the title of the father of curation, but you may be one of those and eligible for that title. You've certainly been teaching about it long enough. I have a number of questions for you, and feel free to go with them wherever you like. We go from basics to a little bit of advanced, but the question is, why are we talking about curation in media all of a sudden? Didn't, like, the New York Times motto for years was all the news that's fit to print? Wasn't everybody always curating?
On one end, probably yes. In fact, very much so, because the practice of curation is embedded in many practices out there that have not been labeled as such until now, and maybe have gone under the work of editors, of chief newsroom editors, or librarians in many cases have done this job. But it is also true that since 2, 3, 4 years, it depends where you're at, how much you use the internet, the ability to stay on top of things has kind of drastically diminished, mostly because we've got so many more sources of information, of distraction, of entertainment available to us that the time and the opportunity to seek and find what you're really interested in has decreased significantly. So whoever is able to stand between you and your ability to find those things, whether that is software or a person that you can trust, that saves you time in finding what you're really interested into, has become a valuable item. While before, we were all running to get the ability to post, to publish and share. Now, most anybody has this ability even from their mobile phone. So we are putting out lots of stuff, and rapidly the need has moved from producing to now we have all these beautiful fruits. Now, what are the very best ones? What are the good ones, depending what your diet is? And so we need a lot of people to organize this stuff.
Are you surprised when you hear that curated sites are selling for hundreds of millions of dollars?
I haven't heard of this.
Oh, well, like, for example, Huffington Post for 300. Oh, okay. Or Bleacher Report for nearly $200 million. And many, many more going for such large numbers. Does that surprise you that a curated site could be so valuable?
I'm not very much into those type of curation sites, to be honest. I'm not a reader of either one, and although I know about the first one quite a bit, I think that you give me the opportunity to maybe distinguish what can be sold as curation and in reality is in fact just a very up-to-date content marketing approach.
Okay.
So
if you would go on and say a little bit more about that, about the difference
yeah.
between curation and up-to-date content marketing.
Yes, I think that there are a lot of companies and services right now which have as objective the ability to make you find content that you can publish on your site rapidly, so that you don't have to make as as much effort as you needed when you wrote a site or wrote a blog, and you
Okay.
needed to write something from scratch. And so now it's being sold the idea that, well, you don't have to write all this stuff. There is a lot of stuff out there. So why don't you just pick what is good and you put it out? Now, this has been has created as a consequence the fact that many people do even a worse job than before when it comes to posting content, because what they do is they use these tools that provide them lots of possible tweets or Facebook posts or other articles, and when they see an interesting title or an interesting image, they click and repost it on their own blog, site, news channel, whatever that is. So in fact what they're doing is that they are picking and sharing something, but since they are not going most of the time even to see, read, verify, and check what they're sharing, they're kind of the same people you encounter on the street or at the bar that talk about things, but there's nothing you can go away with, that you can learn from, that you can apply in your own life. It's just gossipy stuff that you don't even know how much you can trust. That's the kind of curation we see being exploited right now in the name of getting easy traffic for little work.
Okay. So the key to quality curation, and you've taught a lot about this, is adding value, adding your opinion, and bringing something new to the table, but not just aggregating and reposting other news.
Correct? I would add that it is indispensable for you to go and vet, verify, and check what you post. It is unbelievable to me to see what appear to be as very popular curators passing on things that evidently, very evidently, they have not read, because if they did, they would have not passed them on. And to take, therefore, more personal care in the fact that you are not, see, I think the objective makes the difference. If you're doing this because you care about that subject, because you're passionate about it, because you do it for keeping yourself updated, and you have a mission of sharing and helping others, then curation fits perfectly this paradigm. But if your objective is to achieve visibility and traffic and more conversion and this and that, you're going to be sold on this other idea that curating is picking things from here and there so that you don't write and reposting them for others. So there is a huge difference, because the curator is really like a small investigator, a detective, somebody who finds something interesting, but that is the only starting point. Then you go and check who wrote it, when they wrote it, how does it apply to my friends who are passionate about dogs. Is it relevant for them? Why is it relevant? What should I tell them that is interesting about this thing that applies for them? And so there is a whole work of going exploring and finding what is relevant for your own specific following, for your own customer base, call it what you like. But I do this because I want to help specific groups of people in keeping themselves updated on a topic. I don't care whether I get a lot of traffic conversion. I'm not selling anything. I do it because I'm interested in it and I like to share what I discover.
Now, there's been someone who's published a book talking about how to abuse bloggers by contacting a blogger with an exclusive. This is following up on what you're talking about. And so hoping that they'll publish it without checking it out, and then it will go around and the story will catch fire. So, a curator isn't necessarily a reporter. When someone gets a story, how much do you have to go to do to verify it?
Let's say this. Let's say that you are a passionate dog lover and somebody comes to you and says that there is a new breed of dogs that you never heard about, but it's really fantastic because they got fluorescent hair. Now, how much do you have to go through before you tell everybody on your side that this is true or not? You tell me.
I
You're
would,
not a reporter, but you're not also willing to be discredited easily. So you do what you can do best to verify. You go and check what is the background of this person. Has he published other things? Are these things reliable? Has other people mentioned him? Has been reviewed by others? I mean, if you think about it, it's not that difficult to verify something. It's just that we're not used to, because we're a bit television culture that we take everything for granted.
okay. What effect do you think that curation is going to have on traditional media?
Traditional media, if we intend television, radio, print, newspapers may be the ones that will be not most affected, but that will ride best this opportunity for them because they have the skills to do this properly. Because even if they have been following some not so open agenda in their coverage of news, they have been picking and selecting what to cover, and they have learned and shown that they can curate topics in depth to much appreciation of the readers interested in those. So I think newspapers and magazines are best set to write this. I don't see television as such being even aware of opportunities for it. There may be middlemen, like web services that allow me to find the type of TV content I want, to curate collections of old archives of television shows and films. That would be very useful. But television as such, I may be ignorant about it. I have no indications that they're tentatively writing this. Am I answering your question?
Yes, you are. Now, a lot of the newspapers have taken offense at some curators for excerpting and building upon their articles. I'm not sure if they're afraid of declining visitorship or declining revenues. How do you think that tension is going to play out?
Unfortunately, for those complaining, it may not play out in their favor. The Huffington Post, I think, is, I don't know if you agree, one such example. If we take it broadly, I mean, these guys are writing on somebody else first putting out a story and then summarizing, synthesizing, going around it, maybe spectacularizing it a bit with proper imagery and so on. I think this is a trend that is unstoppable. I mean, there are not even good reasons to stop it. We should rather think how we can do better than the Huffington Post without really exploiting so naively other people's work, but by giving, how do you say, a stage to those people that we curate. While those news glamorous sites that supposedly curate content ride on that content and exploit it, I think there is a different approach to curation whereby you actually highlight the important sources that have given you that opportunity. You are a collector and an informer to others of the resources that have made that news and story possible. And that may cater to a different audience, a more sophisticated one. But the Huffington Post is not the only way to definitely curate the news. So I sympathize for those that lament themselves, but I don't think we should fight.
It's an unstoppable force. It's a movement, and it's your fault because you started it. Robin, I'm seeing curation sites in almost every niche out there. There's sites about cats. I have a site about dogs. There's sites about coffee. Do you think that there are any niches that couldn't sustain a curation site?
Right off the box, no, I don't have I have not seen a situation where I've been asked this and I've been able to say no. Evidently, it depends. If we're talking about curation so that you can create a useful service for others and possibly a sustainable one from an economic standpoint, well, you will have to come to grips with the fact that you can curate in a sustainable way only something that is precious enough to people to be willing to pay a little bit to get more and more, or to remain in contact or subscribe to whatever you're giving them. So it is difficult that, cat pictures, however well curated they are. I don't know. I'm not a collector. I'm not a sophisticated one on the front. Maybe there are people willing to pay for those collections, but I would bet that collections that curate information about things that people are interested or need or have a problem with would sell and would be economically sustainable. Therefore, it's much more economically sustainable to have a curated directory of the best people that are expert in training dogs, rather than having the greatest collection of dog pictures, in my opinion. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Now, that's the second time you've jumped to a question I had further down the list, so we're going to go with it. The economics of curation. Someone decides that they're going to be curating about life in Rome, the most up-to-date material about Rome, the best things for tourists to do, the 10 best night spots that even Romans don't know about, that they shouldn't miss. How do you see, and someone loves it and puts their passion into it, how do you see someone monetizing sites like this? How does the curator pay the bills?
Okay, I could say, to justify myself, that we're a little early in the game, but in fact we're not. There are enough good examples out there of how curation can be monetized, and again, the more appetizing, the more valuable to the reader information you curate, the easier it becomes to sustain it economically. The first approach, the easiest one, is the one to have a company, a service, a product that is relevant to your niche and to your tribe of clients, customers, fans.
Okay, yeah.
To sponsor your channel, to sponsor your collection, your gallery, your curated set. A relevant company in that space would have only an advantage to be showcased next to a prestigious, up-to-date curated news channel or so. In the US, we have several examples of this and more. For example, we have sites that curate news about technology or media or gossip or Hollywood that basically make themselves sustainable by selling sponsorships to their channel, or second option, they sell sponsored stories. That is, I curate the channel and I put out certain stories, but if you pay me, you can have your story there. I will say that this story is sponsored, but you get within my show, which is not evidently something that those companies despise, because, take for example, let's make some names, techmeme.com. That's Silicon Valley news curated site. How do they survive? With sponsored stories. There is a specific space for them, you can find it. That techmeme has a number of sister sites, Media Gazer, and more, dedicated even to baseball, gossip, and so. And all of them use this approach. In the future, we will see that for very specific, highly useful channels, people will also be willing to pay a very small monthly or weekly fee to subscribe to this. Just like you would subscribe today to particularly well-done newsletters or magazines. So it is likely to me in the future that people who curate specific information niches will be able to sell subscriptions to their sites. Finally, so we've seen three options. I think that possibly, especially for the small company, the small guy out there who's doing this, curation is, if done properly, is a very effective way to increase your reputation. Because if you're talking about everyone else out there, if you're able to read everything and pick up the best, well, you cannot be such superficial, ignorant chap, but you must know by way of what you're doing a bit more than most people do in this space. And so this is an indirect way to get a lot of requests for consultancy, one-to-one coaching, training sessions, workshops, because people that see that you cover systematically and in depth that specific theme will certainly call you to get more from you privately, and they will be willing to pay a price for it.
Okay. What do you think of the practice that's starting with some newspapers of content locking? Do you think that that's going to be sustainable, where you get to view maybe one article and then if you want more, you have to pay for it?
Depending what is the economic barrier there, I think it may work for some, especially when you're what you're going to miss out is of unique value. That's why long form, investigative, highly curated journalism is coming back slowly, and it will justify me paying a bit to get access of that extra stuff. But if you're just giving me the option to pay to get the typical articles I'm getting today, no, that's going to be a failure, a flop, 100%. So it will depend on what's behind my paying.
Okay. So, for example, the newspaper that was free yesterday, you don't see someone paying to read about the cow that got hit on the road tomorrow.
No.
Not going to happen. Yesterday, Google announced that, moving into tools for curation, Google announced that they're shutting down Google Reader. Now, I don't know why Google did that or the logic. I emailed my students and I said the reason they're doing that is because they can, or because they want to. I don't know how much money it was costing them to keep it going, but what do you see? What are the tools that you see as most valuable today for you as a curator?
There are several ones. It all depends, again, what you want. So I know that for curating news, I like to use Scoop It, so I won't hide this. They don't pay me yet, I don't know, for this. So I do recommend Scoop It. I think it's a great tool. There are also good competitors out there for Scoop It that have reasonable prices. One came out yesterday, it's called Content DJ. Another one came the day before, it's called Lingo Spot for WordPress. There are about 30 or 40 of these different tools out there. If you want to get a complete picture of these ones dedicated to the news, you can go to bit.ly, bit.ly slash let me check, bit.ly content curation universe. One word with the initial letters of each word capital. So that's bit.ly slash content curation universe. You get a map there open to the public that contains over 350 tools for curation. You want to focus on the right side of that map where you will see distinctive groups, because nowadays there aren't just news curation tools. There are image curation tools, video curation tools, fashion curation tools, timeline curation tools, you name it. So let me give you some recommendations if you're just starting out. If you like to create collections or series of video, I suggest you look, for example, into Redux, R-E-D-U-X, or you look into short form, or in Miro Community. These are just the first three ones that come to mind. By no means these are the best. But these are good ones that cost you next to nothing. They're all free to get on that bandwagon. If you're like to collect instead images, you probably have heard about Pinterest. But there are a number of other alternatives out there. Is it worth going with the other ones? I think not, because Pinterest has got such a wide and broad audience that it's best for you to stay on that one. Let's say you want to do something that on Pinterest is not possible, like collecting screenshots of websites. I suggest you try Gimme Bar. That is written GIMMEBAR, gimmebar.com. That's a fantastic tool to collect, screenshot, and organize them in collections of websites or pages you need. You like to collect citations or text that's on pages of specific website, try out Bundler at bundler.com. These are some good tools for content curation that come to the top of my mind.
Now, I was a follower of yours when you were active or semi-active on your blog. You moved to Scoop It, and you went from being someone that there was a dedicated following, people in the know knew about Robin Good's blog, but now you're on Scoop It, and all of a sudden you're the superstar with so many people following you and so forth. Do you think that Scoop It found it was easier to find you on Scoop It? And why use Scoop It instead of your own blog?
Very good question. First of all, I didn't see myself as you did. I actually have drastically diminished my presence on my blog and didn't think of going to Scoop It and do something there instead of my site.
We used to, as a reader of your blog, when a new post would appear, we would actually make a party and celebrate because, hey, look, Robin's still alive. Now you're on Scoop It, and you're there, and there's so much more of you.
Yes, well, thank you for the compliments. The evolution has gone like this. I've had to keep myself sustainable doing what I do since I have no other job but being Robin Good. And while for many years I have banked on Google up to the point of being the first Italian of living off the web, of billing publicly over $1 million to Google and so on, all that thing has gone away for many reasons, ethical, technical, legal. So I don't make any more money with Google, and to survive doing what I do, I've had to change my business model and change what I do to survive.
You meant you were making...
I don't want to go back to work in the real world. Go ahead.
You meant you were making money from the AdSense, yes? Is that what you meant by making money from Google?
Yes.
Okay. So you were getting enough traffic from AdSense coming to your blog. And how does Scoop It replace that?
I didn't attempt to replace that. I wanted to abandon that altogether because I don't feel I am in control with that business model. And I feel that I'm just building a park for everybody to come and do their business inside my free park. I want to have my VIP club where people pay me because they value me. So I've spent the last 3 years building that. And I've created an online campus and a university for people who want to learn how to do business without using Google. And that's where I spent a lot of my time and resources, and I've had to decrease my publishing on my blog that you have clearly missed. And what I could do better, because it required less attention from me, was to gradually learn how to curate the topics that interested me, because I was spending the time anyhow to follow them, but I didn't have the energy and time to write a long-form article. So I wanted to write immediately the first tool that gave me the opportunity to work on curating rather than just having to write. And that's how it happened.
Okay. Because there are a lot of people who are going to be reading this, if there's someone interested in following your courses, where would they go to find your courses, your VIP club, as you called it? Where would they find it?
Unfortunately, I cannot give you an address that you can send them to unless they are from Italy, because I've decided to open this service for now just for Italians.
Wow.
And I had a special following here that was screaming to have it, and so I opened the gates for them first. That place is called POP, like pop, like my hat, .robingood.it. But it's all in Italian, unfortunately. So you'll have to wait a little bit for the international campus to be open.
Okay, but someday it'll happen. And so,
Sure.
and so you have a big following, not just in Italy, but also around the world waiting for you.
That's good to know.
Okay. What do you see as the future of curation? Do you see the future of curation as more apps, more web apps, more page apps, more Apple and Android apps? Where is curation taking us? Where are we going with it?
We're just going to spend some serious time learning how to do it first. So, although the sparkling item will be the tools that will be coming out and we can talk for hours about them, the key evolution that I care about is how much we're going to get better ourselves with the help of the tools in doing this, in taking responsibility for organizing the world of information that is out there. Because if somebody doesn't sit there to organize it, and there are multiple ways to organize every single niche, we're not going to be able to learn to inform ourselves in valuable ways. We're just going to have so much information, and we're going to sink, die under it. So where do I see curation going? I dream of seeing more and more people like you and your fans starting to do serious curation work by making great collections of whatever solves a problem, satisfies a specific interest or need. Collections of articles, collections of books, collections of music, collections of images, video, you name it. And these collections don't have to be a pile of things. That's not a collection. A collection is something where you have taken responsibility for ordering, organizing, commenting, and showcasing in a certain way this stuff to me. So the way you put it, in which order you put it, what you say about this stuff, makes all the bloody difference in how much I can appreciate your work, or in how much this work can help me solve a problem or a need. So this is what I expect. I expect to be surprised by individuals and newsrooms that are going to work and make stuff that you're going to say, wow, when you see it. On the tool side, we're really at a very rudimentary stage. What people see today as fantastic curation tools are really very rudimentary assembly of utilities to help somebody curate. But where we miss the most them to progress is in the way they display information. They're all kind of stuck in this linear top-down news story thing from newspapers age. But we can't live in a curated world just with linear stuff going from the top down. Even Google's still doing that. So Pinterest has gone to the grid, and that's already an improvement. Some people like me like mind maps because you get to see the forest and the trees at the same time. But we got to explore more and better ways to see these collections, because when you curate, seeing just one item and not seeing the rest is not very viable. Not being able to focus and group elements that are characterized by the same tag, age, author, or words is not very useful. But we are getting very satisfied with what we have been given so far, evidently because we're just concerned about sharing, putting out stuff, and not very much with the quality. So it is a future to me that I love to go from quantity to quality, because curation today means quantity, producing lots of stuff.
Right.
Curation in the future should mean quality. Less stuff, less resources, more trusted, more reliable, where I can learn from and inform myself truly.
So when we look at sites, the most popular sites like Facebook and Twitter and even Pinterest and whatever, we're looking at these masses of quantity. Someone once said that education is information that goes from the blackboard of the teacher to the notebook of the student without going through the brain of either one. Okay? So, but that's what's happening in social media today. We're seeing so much out there, but we're not seeing good stuff. People are turning away because of the amount of static that's on the line there. What do you see other than being highly selective about, if I go to Twitter and just look at Twitter without a curation tool, without a tool to sort through the static, I'm wasting my time with people selling me ridiculous things and so forth. The utility has just disappeared. Do you think that we're going to be waiting for the next generation of Facebook or Twitter that's going to put some kind of
No, I think it's part of the price we have to pay to get to a better situation, is to be at this point in time a bit overloaded by this very superficial, unvetted information flow that is out there. This will force both me and you to clear up our friends list very vehemently and very decisively, and will also give natural light to good curation, because while me and you may see all this superficial information as a tsunami of noise bothering us, at the very same time, this is the best opportunity, being there so much noise, for the few who understand how to curate and extract the real sound, the Dolby guys, to come out and make the pure sound being heard. I mean, today, if you do the right job, you stand out because everybody's gossiping. Everybody's pushing that share link so easily. So if you don't do it with such ease, but you do it very carefully, like somebody was shooting a movie of you, and tomorrow or in a year you're gonna die, so you're gonna want to leave a stand, leave a sign of what you've done. Then I think people are going to notice, again, because there are so few doing it. So the tremendous noise gives opportunity to the few good ones to shine 1,000 times brighter.
Absolutely brilliant, Robin. I mean, those last sentences just summarize, I think, everything that you stand for. I have one last question, and I know that this is something that you teach, so you might have to give me the abbreviation. You might have to give me the short form, and that is, someone new wants to start a blog. Let's use Rome, dogs, cats, fish, and they're passionate about fish. Let's use fish as the example. And they know everything about tropical fish. They live for fish. They could sit. They know everything about aquariums, filters, and whatever. And then they start curating information, adding their own information. How do they get their information to the next level? What would you suggest they let people, if they don't let people know that they're there, it's kind of like winking in the dark, okay? You're blinking your eyes, but nobody sees it because you're in the dark. How do they start to get attention to themselves? What would you recommend as the first step?
Good question. I think you have to do a series of things to help yourself in the beginning. It all comes down to, as in real life, let's try not to think that this internet is a special reality. That is, if I'm good at soccer and I want to play with Totti in AS Roma, well, I have to go outside, play with some teams, make myself shown, go meet people, go at the bar with the fans, reunite. I mean, gotta do stuff. This same stuff is on the internet. So let's say that I'm into tropical fish and aquariums, like you said. Well, I have to find out where is the corner bar where the people who are into tropical fishes and aquariums hang out. And I go hang out there myself. And when I hear something they say that I can add something of value, I will intervene. I will provide some comments, some URLs, some links. What do you mean, Robin? What are you talking about? I'm talking about blogs. There may be blogs where people hang around because they talk about a topic. There may be forums. There may be groups on LinkedIn, on Facebook, groups on Twitter. There are everywhere on all these social media, there are groups of people interested in a certain topic. So the first place I'd go to is not to scream through advertising, Google AdWords, Facebook ads that I exist, but to make my presence felt by the way I can help others. So I go where others hang out, and I try to see when I intervene if people say thank you, say, oh, who are you? You're a nice guy. That means that I'm doing the right thing. And so that, I think, would be the very first step. Secondly, I would go to events, bar camps, workshops, seminars, conferences, where I can get to know other people in my situation and where I can get also the higher level people that may help me get more visibility. Last but not least, and I will close, I will try, after having set some credibility for myself, after having done some good things, to knock at the door of those one level up from me, those a little more guru than me, more expert than me, and interview them just like you're doing with me right now. Because that will help me become more visible in many different ways, because you're giving something good to your audience. I myself may speak about you, have interviewed me, so I give access to my audience to you, and so on. That's my advice.
All right. Absolute honor talking to you today. Great content as usual. And I hope to be in touch with you and continue learning from you. And I can't wait to see your material come out in English. Have a great day.
All right, Harlan.
Take care.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day yourself. Bye-bye.